Welcome back to Bible Shorts, episode 36. The Ark of the Lord is captured. The Sunday school lesson for Sunday, September 25th. Welcome back. Now remember, last week we learned how God spoke to a boy called Samuel at a holy place at Shiloh, where the Israelites kept the Ark of the Covenant. And this story today is something that happens after that story. But Samuel is not mentioned. We're still at Shiloh, but it seems like some years have gone by. Eli is still the chief priest, but now he's really old, in his 90s. And his two worthless sons are still not good people. Now, the Israelite people have settled mostly in the interior of Canaan. But on the rich farmland near the coast, another people had moved in. And they had 5 main cities, shown here in yellow. They were a warlike people and were called the Philistines. And they're going to be big trouble for the Israelite people for years and years and years to come. And you're thinking, oh, Philistines, yes, David and Goliath, right? Well, yes, Goliath was a Philistine, but this story takes place years before David was even born. Now, one day, the Israelites fought a battle against the Philistines at a place called Ebenezer to the west of Shiloh, and Israel was defeated. And when the soldiers returned to camp, the elders of Israel said, "Why did the Lord bring defeat on us today before the Philistines?" And they said, "Let's bring the Ark of the Covenant from Shiloh so God may go with us and save us from the hand of our enemies." So they sent men to Shiloh, and they brought back the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. And Eli's 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, came with them. And when the Ark of the Covenant came into the camp, all Israel raised such a great shout that the ground shook. Hearing the uproar, the Philistines asked themselves, "What's all this shouting in the Hebrew camp?" And when they learned that it was the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of the Israelites that had come into the camp, the Philistines were afraid. "A god has come into the camp," they said. "Oh no, nothing like this has happened before. We're doomed. Who will deliver us from the hand of these mighty gods? These are the gods who struck the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness. Be strong, Philistines, be men, or you will be subject to the Hebrews as they have been to you. Be men and fight." So the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated again, and every man fled to his tent. The Ark of the Covenant was captured, and Eli's 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died. That same day, a man from the tribe of Benjamin ran from the battle line and went to Shiloh with his clothes torn and dust on his head. And the man hurried over to Eli, who was 98 years old, and whose eyes had failed so he could not see at all. He told Eli, "I've just come from the battle line. I fled from it this very day." And Eli asked, "What happened, my son?" The man who brought the news replied, "Israel fled before the Philistines, and the army has suffered heavy losses. And your 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the Ark of God has been captured." And hearing this, Eli fell backwards off his chair and died. After the Philistines had captured the ark, they took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod, one of their cities. They carried the ark into the temple of their god, who was called Dagon, and set it beside the statue of their god. But when the people rose early the next day, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. So they picked up Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning, when they rose, there was Dagon fallen again on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord, and his head and hands had been broken off. Now, in those days, whenever anything bad happened, people just assumed it was because a god was angry. So when the people in Ashdod started getting sick, the people said, "The ark of the God of Israel must not stay with us, because the God's hand is heavy on us and on Dagon, our God." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and asked them, "What shall we do with the ark of the Lord?" And the rulers of the Philistines answered, "Have the ark of the God of Israel moved to Gath." So they moved the ark of God of Israel to the city of Gath, but after they moved it, the Lord's hand was against that city, throwing it into a great panic. And so they sent the ark of God to the Philistine city of Ekron. But when the ark of God was entering Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out, "They have brought the ark of the God of Israel here to kill us and all our people." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, "Send the ark of the God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place, or it will kill us and all our people." What happens next? Look for episode 37, The Ark's Return.